Hello, everybody, and welcome to this spoiler review for the Banshees of Inisherin, one of my new favorite films from this year of 2022. I got a chance to watch it a couple of weeks ago. Now that it's out wide, I thought I'd do a spoiler review for you here on the Outlaw Nation channel. For those who may not know my name, I am the Outlaw John Rocha. Welcome to my channel, and I hope you enjoy this spoiler review. Before I dive too deep into it, just remind you all to please subscribe to the channel down below, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the content we do on here. Head on over to Twitch, follow me there, the Outlaw Nation, all one word on Twitch, and the Patreon, patreon.com/John Rocha. This one comes to us from writer-director Martin McDonagh. Yeah, that's right, the man from Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and In Bruges. And speaking of In Bruges, the film reunites Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson under Martin McDonagh's direction. This one is set in 1923 on an island off the coast of Ireland while the Irish Civil War is raging on, which has been raging on for about a year. If you look at the historical context which this film is taking place, these two friends come together, and one of them just decides they do not want to be friends with the other one anymore. Brendan Gleeson's Colm, that's the character he's playing. He's the one that decides he just does not want to be friends with Colin Farrell's Podrick anymore. And Podrick spends the whole film trying to figure out why this is happening. It affects the entire town because it's a very small town. Everybody knows each other. No one's going anywhere. They've been there for a long time. They're all involved in this mystery, and Podrick is the one trying to batter through the wall of Colm's resistance here to find out why Colm doesn't want to be friends with him anymore. Brendan Gleeson plays Colm as this kind of grumpy older dude who realizes that he doesn't want to keep spending time with someone that he doesn't find that interesting. He's just come to this idea that his time is running out, his life is running out, so he wants to spend the precious hours that he has left not engaging in an inane conversation with Podrick, who, admittedly, when you watch the movie, you realize he has a few screws loose. He's not that intelligent, so you might understand Colm's decision, even though it leads to some interesting consequences and results by the end of the movie. And again, this is a spoiler review, so I am going to be spoiling some things in the film. So overall, I will say this right off the bat, I really enjoyed the movie. I love Irish movies, and this is one of those ones that goes into that bin of exclusively great Irish movies. And I heard a lot of talk coming out of these festivals that this film was going to be up for a lot of nominations come award season, and I would not be surprised if it is. I thought this thing was fantastic and deserved a Best Picture nomination, Best Actor and Director nomination, Best Actor nomination, Best Supporting Actor nomination, and a Best Supporting Actress nomination. Even the cinematography was gorgeous in this movie. So I had a thoroughly great time with this film. And let's break down why I enjoyed the movie. You all know I love to start with the acting. Let's start there. I think Colin Farrell is absolutely fantastic in this movie. On the heels of what we saw him do with the Penguin, we are in a bit of a, I don't know, not necessarily a renaissance, but a golden age of Colin Farrell as an actor. He's older now. He's lived through some things in his life, experienced the world, and we see him bring so many levels and so much nuance to his performances nowadays in the roles that he takes on. He's gone back to doing these more independent films with these independent vibes. Yes, I know the Batman is the Batman, but when he shows up in these independent films, there's so much more weight to the characters that he's creating, and it's fun to see him in this film. He does things with his faces and his face that I've never seen him do, and this is a character that I've never seen him play. A character that's a little bit slow, a little bit behind, a little bit caught up in the emotion of things, unable to understand what's happening, stubborn about it, really desperate to hang on to this friendship. So there's a bit of a sadness to his character in the way that he doesn't quite understand what's going on, and you want him just to get it so he can move on. But of course, if he does, there's no movie. That's the central conflict that this film is, his inability to accept it. And so I love that we go on this journey with him as he goes through the paces of all this. And in the film, because he can't spend more time with Colm, we see that Barry Keoghan's character Dominic comes in and spends more time with him, and he's a fan of his. He's a fan of Podrick's and is trying to get Podrick to accept the fact that Colm doesn't want him anymore, and tries to get him to not like Colm, points out all the negative things about Colm. But in the end, Podrick is still so desperate to make this thing work. And we'll get to Barry Keoghan in just a second. And on the other side is Brendan Gleeson, who is absolutely fantastic here as Colm. Really, once again, another grounded performance, but there's a lot of soulfulness to what he's doing. There's a lot of a tortured soulfulness to what he's doing because he knows he's making a harsh decision here with Podrick, and he knows that he's got to do this for himself. It's a desperate decision because he realizes now, as time is running out, or he senses that time is running out, he has to make these strong decisions so that he can enjoy the last few years of his life. He wants to compose a song, which is the title of the movie, The Banshees of Inisherin. He wants to spend time doing things that he wants to do. He doesn't want to spend time staying in these conversations and maintaining this friendship with Podrick. He wants to be challenged and inspired to do other things, get to know the other people in town, spend more time with them, have conversations with them who he deems to be more interesting and more intelligent than Podrick, which is, of course, up to you to decide as you meet some of these people in the town that he's spending time with. But he wants to do more with his life, and he thinks that Podrick has been the thing that, in essence, has been taking his time up that shouldn't have been. So you see him navigating all of this, and he's initially very kind. He's in terms of the understanding that Podrick is upset about this. He tries to explain it to him in many different ways, and halfway through the movie, he realizes he's not going to get it. Podrick is not going to get it unless he does something severe, and he threatens to essentially cut off his fingers using these shears. And when Podrick doesn't get it over and over again, he starts to do it. And one of the weirdest parts of the, and this is definitely a very dark comedy, one of the weirdest scenes that you'll see in the movie is him. There's 2 or 3 scenes where he's throwing his fingers at the door rather, of Podrick's place that he shares with his sister Siobhan, and he throws it, and it's just so weird that he's gone to this extreme to do these kinds of things to kind of make it clear to him, to Podrick, that he does not want to be friends with him. So just a fascinating exploration of these two people and their relationships and who's right and who's wrong. And when you're watching the movie, you can understand the decision, but you also understand the pain of Podrick. And so you're stuck between these two very interesting people and deciding where you lie in terms of your loyalty or allegiances or your understanding of both of them. And I think that's a great challenge for the viewer. And speaking of Siobhan, that's Podrick's sister, it is played by KERRY CONDON. KERRY CONDON is another fantastic performance in this movie. Like, I've been a fan of hers since Rome. For those who don't know, she is the voice in the Iron Man movies. After Jarvis became Vision, she came in as Friday, and she's fantastic. You know, she's been so good whenever I've got a chance to see her in any of the British stuff or Irish stuff or some of the American stuff. I've always been impressed by KERRY CONDON. I always thought it was a shame she didn't blow up even bigger, coming over, kind of like a Kate Winslet or other actresses who've come over from the UK or Ireland to become successful here in the States doing some more American films. But she delivers a beautiful performance here. She is the one person who understands in a predominantly male island how insane it is for her, how tough it is for her to function in this island with a bunch of, as she says, I think she says, fucking idiots or whatever about the guys that are there. She wants more. She aspires to have something more, and she loves her brother, but she wants something more. And when this opportunity comes up for her to leave the island to become this teacher, I believe, she jumps at the opportunity, which is somewhere later in the film. But until that point, she is trying to talk to Podrick and navigate this situation that's changing. She confronts Colm a couple of times to get him to explain things to Podrick, and Colm does, but in the end, Podrick still doesn't get it. So Siobhan is kind of stuck in this place where she's trying to figure out how to solve this situation, but also how to take care of herself and move on and go do something more. And she has to kind of keep the attraction of Barry Keoghan's Dominic at bay, because Dominic is a little bit of a touched, shall we say, individual who we find out is been sexually abused by his father, which is a really weird kind of subplot that runs through the film. But her performance, KERRY CONDON's performance, is tender and gentle and strong and steely, and you just connect her and you feel for her. There's a confrontation she has with Dominic's dad that's really unsettling, and she also doesn't want to be the talk of the town, and so she kind of pushes back sometimes when people make comments about her or people comment her. So she's a very strong character in the film. When she makes the decision that she makes, it is heartbreaking, because you see that's yet another person that wants to leave Podrick's orbit. But you know she's doing it because she has to do it for herself to survive. And I feel like if he gave Colm the same understanding that he gave Siobhan, things would be different. So, and I apologize to any Irish speakers who are mad that I'm not saying Chauvin's name better. I'm doing the best I can with these Irish names. Please forgive me. And I mentioned Barry Keoghan already. His performance as Dominic is fantastic as well. Yet another actor in The Batman playing Joker in a small scene at the end of the movie. I like Barry Keoghan. I liked him in Eternals, even though they didn't give him much to do or give his character much background. I liked him, and I've enjoyed him in the things that I've seen him in. I thought he was good in the Green Knight, and here too, he plays such an interesting character because it's clear that it's a guy on the spectrum. He's strange. He has these emotions that are strong. He has these developed senses of good and evil, right and wrong. Even though he breaks social customary norms sometimes with his communication style, he's very clear that Podrick is in the right on this one, and Colm is in the wrong on this one. Yet Podrick doesn't want to give him too much credit. And then when you find out as they're spending time what the situation has been with him and his father, it is heartbreaking. It is absolutely heartbreaking. And what happens to him when he ends up dying in the water? Did he jump in himself? Did he get pushed in? Did he slip? We don't know, but it comes on the heels of his advances towards Chauvin being rejected. So was that a part of him killing himself? Or if he did that, was the sexual abuse of his father and the physical abuse, because he also beat him up all the time, as we see in the movie, was that the stuff that was affecting him? So it's a heartbreaking storyline when it comes to its end in the movie, for sure. So just great acting overall, and all the other actors that are involved as the characters, like the guy who runs the bar, the guy who plays Dominic's dad, the policeman there, and the older lady who is constantly walking around dropping these prognostications that do come true here, but it's totally incredibly creepy. I think it's Mrs. McCormick. Yeah, Sheila Filton's Ms. McCormick. I think that's who that is. Her walking around and kind of dropping her predictions for what's going to happen, and the harbinger of all these things that are going to happen, is really great. So just a lot of color from all the actors on this film and on this island, bringing this whole island's life to life in a very vivid way that I thoroughly enjoy. I like Martin McDonagh's direction. Let's move to that. Really enjoyed the way he uses the camera in this movie, the way he captures the feel and the look of how beautiful this area is, the way he takes certain shots down the road, the way he kind of goes into close-up when he needs to go into close-up, when he's using the camera to move around and give you these points of views here that give you an idea of how certain things are happening, or the scope of how certain things are happening. I think he does an excellent job with all of that. Also love the way he's directed the actors. Of course, those performances, they're all fantastic actors, but getting those performances out of those fantastic actors to hit the right tones, to hit the right beats, to work well in tandem with each other, that's part of the director's job as well. And I think Martin McDonagh deserves a lot of credit for that as well. And then his writing. I mean, the script here is really interesting, how it dives into the progression of this friendship from brokenhearted to absolutely steely anger and division, people who were once together fighting against each other. And if you understand the Irish Civil War, what was going on here, they broke away from Britain. Once they broke away from Britain in this Irish independence battle, then they turned on each other, because some people still wanted to have a little bit of British influence on Ireland, or British control on Ireland, and others in the Irish did not. So that caused a civil war. So the people who had been fighting together against the Brits now fought against each other. So you're seeing that in the progression of this friendship, because by the end, after the death of Podrick's donkey, beautiful Jenny, through the fact that she ate one of Colm's fingers and choked on it and choked on her vomit and died, we see that that's the one death that causes the division between these two to be concretely put in the ground now. Podrick making it very clear by the end that he will, until the end of his days, he will have issues with Colm, and specifically with Colm, not Colm's dog, specifically with Colm. As we see the dog being a part of this as well, in really cute and interesting ways, for sure. But we see like houses being set on fire. We see fingers being cut off. We see curses being thrown on people. We see a lot within this dark comedy that is very interesting to enjoy. But the number one thing is the relationship between Colm and Podrick and how it progresses. And I think the writing here that Martin McDonagh does to help you go through the steps and stages and show you how organically and naturally and believably this relationship can end up where it ends up is just a fantastic part of this movie as well. The cinematography is great that Martin McDonagh does with the cinematographer Ben Davis. I think they really capture, as I mentioned earlier, the beauty of Ireland, the beauty of this look. And then also we hear the sounds of the Irish Civil War happening every once in a while. Every once in a while, and I love the shots that we hear when they all turn to hear the shots, to hear the bullets, to hear the explosions, to hear the things that are happening just right there in Ireland, just off the coast of where they're at on their island. I think that all works so well in the direction and cinematography to get you into the feeling of this impending danger or this feeling of heightening up the tension and the stress that's going on through the movie as well. And one last piece of the movie that I really loved is Carter Burwell's score. I've been loving Carter Burwell's music since Miller's Crossing, an Irish gangster film there by the Coen brothers. He does an incredible job with this music, with the movement of the music, the lilt of the music, the I don't know, the places where the music comes in, kind of taking you into these spots, helping you feel the sadness of certain moments, helping you feel the anger of certain moments, and the overall just general sadness or bittersweetness of what's going on here as you see this impending tragic end to their friendship, not ending in terms of either of them dying, but ending of their friendship. That's the thing that does die. And I think his music does an excellent job of taking you through that, and also the comedic moments and making all of that work as well. And then when we get the occasional moments of music that are actually happening in the movie with Brendan Gleeson's Colm composing that Banshees of Inisherin, that's also a huge part that I enjoy in the film as well. I'm sure Carter Burwell had a hand in all of that as well. So just overall, a fantastic film. I got no complaints. I mean, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It also made me think a lot about, friendships and how they end and what's your reaction to them. And also the responsibility you might have when you end a friendship. Do you have the responsibility to help that person kind of understand why it's ending? Do you have to kind of take that into consideration, how they're going to react, or do you not? And that's up to you to decide as you watch the film whose side you're on. And I like that we have these constant conversations between Colm and Podrick, even though Colm keeps telling him to leave him alone, they still find these weird moments to have conversations with each other. And just like any great Irish film, the drama and the darkness balanced by the comedy, sometimes at the same time, makes it so interesting and fun to explore for me personally. So in the end, I give the film 4.5 cowboy hats out of 5 cowboy hats. The Banshees of Inisherin is a gem of an Irish movie from Martin McDonagh, the story of a man changing his life and the unintended consequences it wreaks on those around him. Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson are outstanding, yet again, under Martin McDonagh's direction, and Barry Keoghan delivers a touching and deft performance that will remind you why this guy is in so much demand. But KERRY CONDON's smart, loving, and fierce Chauvin and a little donkey named Jenny steal the movie out from under those guys, and rightfully so. I've loved Condon's work since Rome, but her work here carries a depth, weight, and gravitas that I've never seen before from her, and I think that applies to Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. Again, go see this movie. Yeah, I can't reiterate that enough. Go and see this movie. It is something that I think you will absolutely enjoy. There are some American critics who are bashing it a little bit. Let them have their bashing. I don't care. This is a damn good movie. If you enjoy these films that kind of challenge you in these simple ways, it's just the ending of a friendship, but it sparks so much conversation. It might spark conversation with yourself that I think is fun to get out of a movie. And especially to get out of a good movie like this one. So, all right, well, if you get a chance to watch it, go let me know down in the comments section below what you think about the movie, what worked for you in the movie, what didn't work for you in the movie. Let me know if there was something else you wanted to see in the film, or maybe some of the stuff that kind of bothered you a little bit, or what did you enjoy about the film? I love to hear what you guys think about films as well. Please let me know down there in the comments section below. Remember to hit a like on this video, share it on your social media, and put that hashtag the Outlaw Nation on it so that people can come and hang out with me and see all the stuff we're doing here on the Outlaw Nation. And speaking of the Outlaw Nation, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see we're dropping all the content we do here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Head on over to Twitch. Follow me there, the Outlaw Nation, all one word, on Twitch, and the Patreon, patreon.com/John Rocha. Always looking for new people to come and hang out with us. We do 2 hangouts a week on the Patreon, so come and hang out with us and have some fun on the Patreon as well. All right, take care of yourselves. Be well. Go see Banshees of Inisherin. It is out there in your local theater now, hopefully, for you to see and enjoy. And I'll talk to you next time with another brand new spoiler review here from the Outlaw Nation.